All right, hi guys. Welcome to this next episode of Stratxchange, where we talk to business owners about the very different kinds of business processes they have created, as well as what led them to this point of where they are at as business owners. Today, I have with me Aaghir, who will be talking to us a bit about this restaurant that he started, as well as other food establishments that you all have as well, right?
Sort of, yeah.
Other businesses that you all have as well.
Other
Yeah.
businesses.
Chimichangas, to be precise.
Yep.
All right, and now the drinks.
Hey.
Thank you.
So lime margarita and our coffee donkey IPA.
All right, nice.
Thank you.
Did you say the beer is homemade?
Yes,
Oh, you guys brew it here?
We don't brew it here. We contract brew it, but it's brewed for our brand.
Okay.
So it's called Neon Donkey,
Yeah.
and we've got 4 flavors: IPAs, we've got a stout,
Nice.
pilsner, and a lager.
Nice. How involved were you in the determining of the taste
I
and
had
all
to
that?
drink a lot of beer. I've got no complaints about that. That's basically what I do.
Okay, excuses, but valid
someone's got to
ones,
do
yeah.
the hard work.
Valid ones.
I have to do the hard work.
right. Tell me about the margarita. I heard that it's the main drink here.
Oh, I mean, we worked very hard to perfect it, and it's fairly popular. It comes in 4 flavors.
Okay.
You can even get it in basil, mint, or mango.
Okay.
Now you're having the original.
What am I having?
Lime.
The original lime one.
Yes.
All right.
Zesty
So let's start
and
off with a quick drink. Cheers, man.
Cheers, man.
Thanks for doing this
damn.
interview. Oh,
It's a good sign.
let's see how this is. Oh, so good. So good. So yeah, hey, tell me first of all, what got you here? What got you here as a business owner, as a person who obviously loves the F&B industry, you know, the nightlife, I guess, as well, right? What got you here in terms of your life story here?
Well, I think I've just been doing this for like 13 years now, right? And I just fell into it. Divine intervention or the aliens helped me or some way or some form. I ended up basically going down this road. It's made me happy. I enjoy what I do, and I'm just rolling with it lah.
Okay.
There's no miracle story or ingenious plan lah. I'm just doing things as it comes along.
Nice. And where are you now? Like, how will you describe the space that you're in right now? What are you as a person right now?
I think now, as I'm about to turn 39, I'm a little bit older, a little bit more mature, and I think with COVID-19, right, it's a one-in-a-lifetime experience, right? I never thought I would see the causeway empty. I never thought the roads would be empty. I never thought there'd be no music allowed. So I think I'm someone that's a very unique time and place, because I'm a Singaporean that gets to slow down like everyone else. So I'm slowing down for the time being.
Since you brought the topic of COVID-19, let's talk
Yes.
about it a little bit,
Yeah.
right? How has it affected your business, especially the F&B space and the nightlife scene?
Well, the nightlife scene has been decimated. It's totally destroyed. Our club had to close. I don't know when we can open again. And when we do, we've probably skipped an entire generation that didn't turn 18 in clubs.
Oh,
So the face of new clubbing will be very different. In terms of an establishment like an F&B or restaurant, I think it's a little bit of a mixed blessing. Because I think, like as I mentioned, by slowing it all down, we as outlets had the time to actually perfect what we do. Our customers had the time to enjoy what we do a little better,
right.
which overall is helping the industry grow a little bit better. But that being said, the circuit breakers don't help. Those are very painful times, but I guess it's a necessary evil to prevent more people from getting sick.
Right. That's a very positive spin on where COVID-19 has brought you guys as an F&B business. What are some of the things that you guys perfected or worked on during this slightly slower period? So this just came out during this period?
Yes, so during our first circuit breaker, like I said, we are established Mexican establishment that was selling Corona and regular beers.
Okay.
When it became circuit breaker and we had to deliver food, we realized that people could buy Coronas and Cokes or all those products from supermarkets. They could only order our food that was unique. So then it dawned upon us that if we wanted to continue striving in this environment, we would have to create specialized drinks that only we carried.
Right.
So we designed our own beer for
Right.
starters. We are hoping to design our own gin and mezcal very quickly, and our hot sauce is about to follow.
You constantly refer to we decided this, we decided that, and all that. Who's the we?
It's a team effort. I mean,
Okay.
I've got my managers, I've got my business partners, and I've got my colleagues and staff. We sit down together and we decide the next best approach. Because at the end of the day, you rely on feedback from your people. They give you information of what customers actually want. You can't be everywhere and anywhere at all times.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you were the main one who came up with this idea and started the whole thing going, right? Would you say
I
that?
don't think it's a main person thing. I think I suggest, I didn't even come up with it.
Yeah.
Basically, I wanted to do something,
Okay.
and my partner threw options at me. And then we decided what would be the best option,
Nice.
and then we just shape it as it goes along. I really wouldn't want to take credit for it by myself. It's a lot of people putting things together.
Very nice, very nice. You see, the reason I asked that is because I'm really intrigued by the evolution of how an entrepreneur starts a business, and then slowly but surely, the parts of the business start getting owned and run by capable people, right? Along the way. And where is your business from when you started to 6 years from now? How has your role in the business changed?
So I guess like it's almost. I mean, I've never had a child, but I assume it's very similar, right?
Okay.
It requires different bits of attention and love at different points, and then you must also be willing to give up certain control to bring in people that are better at doing certain things than you are.
Right.
So, when you start off and you want to do something and you don't have the talent, then you bring in the talent along the way. And then they shape the next evolution and so forth and so on. And then you constantly, as CEO, basically take on multiple roles at different stages of your child rearing or your business growing.
Okay.
Right? So at different points, you take on different roles.
Yeah. Talk to me about finding talent, because obviously that's a key component to a business being able to grow, or even for you to let go areas, right? How hard is it to find talent in Singapore?
It's very hard to find talent. I think it's difficult to get people that want to commit to the hours, and especially when you're not big enough. If you wanted top talent, you are actually trying to compete with big hotels, with the airlines. So as somebody that's a small business owner, it's really hard to not only find talent but to retain talent.
Let's talk about your club having to close. Get Juiced, right? I mean, that was one of the hottest thing of that era, and then boom, overnight, right? How did that feel as someone who brought that up from the ground?
Actually, it wasn't really overnight. When we shut, we assumed that it was 1 month, as the government suggested, right? So we closed, we packed up, we wrapped up as if we were going to close for a month. Kept the staff on. At that time, there was grants to keep your staff on, right? Everyone thought it was a nice 1 month break. That became a 2 month break. Then it dragged on to 6 months. But around that process, we were also going in, testing the equipment, making sure it worked. I think 6 to 7 months in, it dawned upon us that it was not going to come back anytime soon.
Wow.
So
that realization must have hit hard.
Not really, actually. It slowly dawned upon you,
Okay,
right?
it took 6
As
months
you saw
to get
cases
there,
going up. As I think the gravity of the disease basically didn't creep up on anyone, right?
Yeah,
so
true.
at first it was something from Wuhan. Everyone was giggling about it.
Yeah.
Then it got a name. Then Italy was in chaos. And then London was in chaos. And then it dawned upon you how it was a pandemic,
Of course.
right? And so then it made sense that there will be no clubbing in the near future.
Of course. And as a business owner, when that reality is set in stone, so to speak, right? How did it feel? I mean, both emotionally as well as on a very logical point of view. Like, it's going to be a loss for you, right? You got to cut losses and move on. Yeah.
It is what it is,
Yeah.
That's my philosophy. You always have to look forward. You can't dwell on how things are. So
I hear you.
when came time, came time. You can't be too emotionally attached to any one thing, right? Also, things rapidly change, and you want to be at the cusp of the next big thing, constantly.
So what is the next big thing?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, maybe the aliens will tell me what the next big thing is. But for now, I don't really know. But it's intuitive also lah. When you feel it in your gut, then you go for it lah.
Then you go for it. Right. Okay, tell me, right? How much of this current this current mindset that you have, right, was shaped by your childhood?
I mean, I'm fortunate. I wasn't from I'm from a middle income family. So I'm not from a poor or rich, I'm an average Yishun HDB boy. But I guess that comfort of my parents never needing money from me, so they were never like, hey, go out there, go and work hard, and then pay me money or support us.
Yeah.
It's more like, you better work hard, if not later when we die, we might not even leave you the CPF if we're not. Right?
It's very morbid.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like,
just
do
kidding,
what
yeah.
you can, try to be happy
Okay.
in what you do. So I think that has shaped me in a more macro approach to business, if you might, right? I
see.
try to see the bigger picture as opposed to just where I am and how badly or well I'm doing at any one time.
Yeah. But that's interesting also because it's not a common route for an Yishun boy to be growing up in the current school system and all that and decide I'm going to go out there and be an entrepreneur and start my own businesses and all that. Like, when did that happen for you?
I totally disagree. I know a lot of my classmates, they're doing some form or another of entrepreneurship, but they may not have outlets, but tattoo parlors or barber shops, right? So I think if you ask me, I don't even like the term entrepreneur, right? I think it's no salary slave, right? Effectively, because if you decide to strike out on your own, your salary is your problem. How you feed yourself is your problem.
Yeah.
You cannot pay your staff, MOM will make sure you pay your staff, right? You cannot pay yourself, you got no one to cry to.
Absolutely.
So I think a lot of it has nothing to do with being Yishun or generation.
Okay.
I think as most middle income kids that exist and parents that support them to be happy, some of them will eventually go towards creating businesses of their own.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm just one of the hundreds or thousands that did it.
Yeah, so talk to me about Insurgents Group.
Yes.
Right? It's the group that you put together to kind of like bring under all these restaurants and all that under its wing, right?
Yes.
Its management. What's the concept and what's the vision of Insurgents Group?
So, when I actually started, my first business was, my second business was a bikini store, right? So I actually started a bikini store, and after that, I used to get paid to do bikini shows. So,
I see.
So companies would pay me to do Centro,
Yeah.
Lola,
Yeah.
those clubs would pay me a fair penny to do a bikini show.
Oh, interesting.
So from there, I decided that what can I do to make the shows better? So then it became less about selling product, more about bettering the show, creating the entertainment concept.
Yep.
As time progressed, it evolved. People demanded more from us, such as like poster design. Then we took on a graphic designer. So next thing you know, we were full-fledged agency servicing F&B outlets.
Right.
So as we learned more on their dime, right?
Yep.
Sorry about that. but
They are paying you for it,
Yeah,
so
right?
why not?
You're going to school, the best kind of school, right? You're being paid to go to school,
Yeah.
right? Then it occurred to us, we will bring in talent again to fulfill the need. So suddenly they'll be like, hey, I like what you guys do, but can you do my PR? Like, yes, we can. We have no clue lah. Then we go, let's hire a PR person.
Figure it out on the way.
Push the person forward lah. Or can you do social media? You're like, okay, let's go find someone and then get social bakers or whatever and just push that forward.
Start working on it.
Start working on it, and then so eventually it was an agency that specialized in F&B, that built clubs and built restaurants and did generally what we could for restaurants and clubs
Okay.
before us setting out on our own.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was in doing all that you saw the opportunity.
Yes.
And decided that it's time for me to get a piece of the pie myself.
I think at some point when you're servicing clients, you get irritated dealing with people that you feel like, why am I even talking to you? Right?
It's so
So
funny.
as a team, we got frustrated for not being able to do what we really wanted to do.
Okay.
And we're like, forget it, whatever. Let's create our own business. And then we saw this space, we saw the size of the kitchen, and then have a lot of money, and we rationally approached it and said, look, what ingredients can we get from the area cheap, fresh? So you can't do an Indian restaurant in Little India. It's asking for trouble. It's like 200-300, right?
Yes.
You can't do a Chinese because you need giant wok
That's
stoves and giant kitchen. So we're like, what can we do? We could do Japanese because sashimi, but you can't get the fresh ingredients.
Yeah.
So like, what we could do? Mexican. Fresh tomatoes.
I see.
You could get all the ingredients, lime, fresh from the area, affordably, and we started the brand.
Do you find that new business owners or people who have great ideas and want to set up sometimes get a little bit paralyzed with trying to analyze whether there's enough of a market need in that area, there's enough of a gap to fill, and doing all this kind of surveys and all that?
Yes and no, but I think if you get your fundamentals correct, right? Like for us, I'm making myself sound more blasé than I am. We didn't just come and say, "I'll open a Mexican restaurant, let's spend money, people will come. If you build it, people will come." We didn't do that. We said, let's take a small space, let's invest a little bit of money, let's keep our costs under control, let's ensure we can get a supply of ingredients, and then see where it goes. So for new entrepreneurs, I think if they get their fundamentals in check, then the paralysis shouldn't happen, right? And if it does, they can always rely that their fundamentals are correct.
And when you say fundamentals, a big part of that is the calculations that go into a business, right?
Yeah.
How did that work for you at that onset, right? What were the important numbers for you before you open this place for the first day?
So I guess for us, it's we look at COGS, cost of goods sold, and rental, right? So, and also of course staffing. So we found the rental suitable.
Okay.
We knew MRT stations were on their way.
Yep.
Two big stations, Rocho and Jalan Besar, were 2 years from opening. So we
Right.
knew it was just a matter of time.
Right.
Then the idea, so we knew we could rely on that eventually. And again, it's not a big space, so we needed one staff outside to run it. So we did that math, we knew it, and then we rolled with it. And then we calculated our burn rate.
Yeah.
Then we started praying to the aliens and hoping that they will help us.
Right, and they look like they sure did.
Yeah.
6 years in.
Beam right down and fixed it.
I know. What would we do without the aliens? Man?
Thank God for that, man.
Yeah. I ask you all this because as a business owner myself, right? I don't know the calculations of an F&B business. 100%. I do purely like digital media consultancy, but I know the calculations there around the head counts and all that, right? So when you guys start a restaurant like that, it always intrigues me. How much runway do you feel you need before you say, let's pull the trigger and let's go?
So typically, we calculate to have 6 months of reserves.
Okay.
That's an average calculation. There are some restaurants that do even a year of reserve.
Wow.
Recently Lo Liping was talking about how outlets need to be cash richer. So they might have to calculate a little bit more because of the COVID.
Yeah.
The future virus acts right? But generally when you go in, you need to have 6 months of reserves. So that worst case, you can tahan 6 months.
Yeah.
So generally when we've done this for clients, we've helped them do the math. So we knew we had 6 months.
Okay.
And we went with it.
Excellent. And that's what you mean by getting the fundamentals right before you get out of the door, right?
True. Yeah. I mean, you can't just open it and hope the next day you're packed. Then you're asking for trouble.
That's not how it works. Yeah. Tell me about from the point that you open, right? I mean, F&B obviously is a competitive area, and you are in a street that probably has 50 other restaurants on it. I don't know what the numbers are, right? How did you? What do you do in terms from a marketing and a branding angle to make Chimichangas stand out as the place of choice?
So I think, like I said, because we were coming from an agency background, visuals were classically important to us. Creating a good, strong brand identity was always paramount to us. So when we built it, we just didn't say... I find a lot of people stray the course, right? They take too much feedback from everyone. People come and say, hey bro, why don't you have wine? What you really need is 20 wine bottles and selection. What we realized was that you create a brand, and then you nourish the brand and you stick to it, and eventually it'll come to fruition. Right? Any kind of brand. I mean, even if it's a curry puff brand or an ice cream brand, it just takes lots of nurturing and consistency to grow it. So we were not so much afraid of competitors because our biggest competitor was not creating the brand properly. Then we have to blame ourselves.
I see.
So we just focus on that.
Tell me in practical terms, what does it mean to nurture or nourish a brand?
So you put in more work in branding, tons of marketing, constantly reach out to various demographics, understanding who your demographic is, targeting a new demographic, constantly investing in brand identity. What is your brand? What your brand stands for? What your brand looks like? Is there a tactile feel to your brand? Is there anything physical? Are you going to do guerrilla marketing? Are you going to do on-ground marketing? So constantly investing in that. So I think we were constantly working on that brand.
Okay. Who is the target market of Chimichangas?
Besides the aliens, right? I think we are very local brand. We don't have a fancy Mexican story. We didn't leave our country to come here. So I think we've developed a brand for Singapore. And what we find is through more and more customers coming through our outlet, the brand is evolving more to cater to Singaporean tastes. So, I mean, if I'm going to elaborate on that, say 5-6 years ago, Mexican food wasn't that big. It was considered very dry. People were like, do you have soup? Right? We have moles, but we don't have soup, right? But now, 5 years on, everyone knows what taco is. A quesadilla, right? From KFC to stuff, you can get it. So you are seeing more and more locals coming in, understanding the food. It's becoming part of a dietary requirement. Having a burrito now and then instead of just eating chicken rice. So we've taken that feedback, which I talked about, and constantly developed on what a local flavor should be.
Okay. So you do like skew the taste profiles of what you are making to make it more suitable for the local audience?
I mean, we're a local brand, so that was always our brand identity.
Okay.
So I mean, when we started, a lot of people assumed like we were catering to expats, right? And so today, a lot of people get shocked when they walk in and they find that we have a predominantly very local audience.
Interesting.
That was the plan from the get-go, and we achieved that. So we are happy with that.
Okay. Let's segue a little bit out of that whole very businessy branding and all that kind of stuff, and talk about with this many years in F&B and with nightlife, and you must have some crazy stories to tell about things you have seen in this space, right? Like what kind of crazy stuff has happened in your clubs or in your restaurants that you can tell us about?
Ghost story. Right?
Oh yes,
I like
please.
This ghost story.
Tell me,
I'm telling this story because of looking at the Singapore Paranormal site just minutes before this interview, right? So I went to actually Bill Get Juice, right? And I was spending nights there, right? 8,000 square feet, Clarke Quay, Block E.
Yeah.
And what would happen is I would sleep there and nothing would happen to me. So I bring in my staff and everything. We install the speakers and equipment, and we start to test the equipment out.
Okay.
And then what happens is we decided we're going to slowly open up. We're going to bring friends and family first. So my staff start saying they are seeing a figure. There is a constant shadow always on the side of them. So I was like, I don't believe in ghosts, I only believe in aliens. Right? So I was like, there's no such thing. And E.T. didn't phone me and tell me it's coming. So I was like, no, impossible. So we bring in friends and family. We started to have people vomiting. Right? They would come to the club.
Just spontaneously?
Spontaneously be nauseated, vomit. So
and this is before the club opened?
Yeah, it's friends and family
because
preview.
People vomiting while drinking heavily is not that exceptional, right?
Yeah. So, but they will get nauseated. Again, then goes after they vomit, they see something standing on the side of their eyes. Okay. And I was like, what? I don't believe in ghosts. So, of course, my managers come to me and say, no, we have to bring this monk. This monk is the best one. Boss, you don't understand. And I was like, can't be lah. Makes no sense lah. So, then a few days I was telling people these stories, right? And most Singaporeans are superstitious. They're like, oh no, you 4 joysticks, 3 joysticks, turn left, turn right, jump up and down, and you'll be fine, right? Until I met a sound specialist. He said, brother, your frequency is off. It's causing vibration. So I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I'll cut the lows. It's too low that it's causing people to be nauseated and their eye socket to vibrate. So that's why they are seeing something, and I was like, no way lah, bro.
No way.
I don't believe this, right? I don't
scientific reason
I'll
for
fix
it.
it for you if you pay me. I said, but I'll do one better. I'm going to tell my staff I'm going to exorcise the place. So we had a pseudo exorcism. Then we fixed the sound.
Okay.
The next day, right, everyone's like, oh bro, it's cured. No one's vomiting. But it blew my mind, right? That actually sound, I mean, you have so many speakers, right? Vibrating very low can cause you to have headaches, nausea, and cause your eyeballs to vibrate, that you will start to see shadows on the left or right.
That's insane. Wow,
Cool,
I've never heard of that before.
Cool, right? Yeah. So that's a wacky story that I love telling people.
Thank you so much. Thank you. The IPA you were talking about?
Yes.
All right, I can't wait to try it, man. Cheers.
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 I moved on to hard liquor because it's happy hour now.
I see. An excuse for everything, huh?
I'm working lah, bro. Constantly. How can you say that?
Oh, this is tasty.
Thank you, thank
This
you.
is really tasty. Good job, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And it's a fresh beer, so it's not pasteurized.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you should be able to taste that aspect.
Yeah, definitely. Every part of it. Yeah. So what do you mean by you are working? Are you normally here afternoon all the way to closing, or what's it like for you?
No, but I think it's crucial to constantly taste your products and
Okay.
experience it, right? Like a customer.
For sure.
I think a lot of people forget the little things, right? Because you know how the tactile feel of how the
Yes.
glass feels, how a metal straw feels in your mouth, right? So when you get feedback, you can react accordingly to it. Someone says, "Oh, your beer is too mild, or it's too bitter. Your gin is watered down," right? So constantly having to drink your product—that's the best part.
Yes.
And testing everything
Yes.
allows you to generally have good feedback and understanding of what's going on.
Good. And you spend a lot of the opening hours of the restaurant. Do you spend it here at the restaurant, talking to customers, talking to your staff?
Lately, because of COVID, we are not allowed to actually interact with customers.
That's true.
So, actually, the bulk of my time is spent expanding the business,
Okay.
right? Because if you're not growing, then you're just wasting time, right? You're just sticking around if you're not
Yeah.
growing.
Yeah.
So, constantly, I'm trying to grow the brand. So, I try to divide my time between going down to the outlets and soaking up the experience, or
Yeah.
seeing how I can amplify the experience.
Yeah.
And the other half, how can I grow this brand?
So what are the areas of growth for a brand like Chimichangas?
I mean, we can have a lot more outlets before we actually start to franchise the brand.
I see.
So that's the eventual goal. As we develop our own beers, now we have our own coasters. I have to show this. Right? As we have these things and our hot sauces and our gins, the eventual goal is to create a brand that can be franchised.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Even outside of Singapore, right?
Definitely outside Singapore.
Okay.
I don't know whether you read, but Mexican food seems to be doing very well lately in China, in Beijing.
Wow.
So Taco Bell left and they came back to a surprising success.
Oh, interesting.
So it's not just this region, but it seems like most of Asia is starting to pick up a taste for Mexican cuisine. So it's the ideal time to grow,
Yeah.
leverage off the prominence of Singapore, and be a Singapore brand that's gone overseas.
Okay. How has digitization or digital media changed the way that you guys have done grown the brand for F&B? Yeah.
I think visuals, which we always believed in, used to be two-dimensional, put up posters like that. But now it's important for us to translate all kinds of visuals onto Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, right? So we're constantly putting juicy images of food and experiences
Right.
on these sites because we know that it's going to titillate our customers.
Nice.
I miss that food. Suddenly I feel like it, right?
Nice.
So of course you got
Keep
Google.
reminding them that you guys are here. Yeah.
Then you got Google AdWords to help you. So if someone's searching for a chimichanga or a taco, you can point the ad and say, "I'm right here, I'm right here,"
Yes.
and then they'll eventually come.
Do you think that this digital marketing aspect of it, or this digital content aspect of it, is actually something crucial to F&B brands today?
Yes.
Or do you think it's something that is a nice to have?
No, it's crucial. I think you need to translate your story digitally so you can reach more people. If not, there is actually no way you can grow or no way you can get. You can have the best restaurant in the world,
Yeah.
but if people don't get to see it or know
Yeah.
what it's about,
Yeah.
there's no way to actually grow the brand.
How do you translate a physical experience in this place, right? I mean, it's so grungy, all these colorful posters. It's like an assault on the senses to be in your restaurant, right? How do you translate?
Not my outfit.
Right, your outfit was the biggest assault of them all, yeah. But how do you translate an experience like this into something digital?
TikTok.
Ah,
Just good old TikTok videos.
Okay.
For starters, if you're asking me for advice for your viewers, the simplest way is TikToks, right?
and if someone wants to follow your brand on TikTok, what's the handle?
Chimichanga SG.
There you go.
Yeah, check us
Okay,
out, right?
yeah.
We're constantly, we try to make a TikTok a day, right? And
And who does this task fall in? Who does this task fall to?
Chloe, where she
Chloe. Okay,
Yes.
we got to talk to her later.
Yeah, so Chloe makes a TikTok a day, and you'll recognize her as the face of our TikTok.
I see.
Constantly eating burritos and doing TikTok challenges. But we also collaborate with other TikTokers.
Okay.
Then we collaborate with influencers on Instagram. But the goal is we try to make this physical space into a digitalized content that we can then push out to people.
It's really good.
Thanks, man.
That's really good. Yeah.
I guess
concept is really good.
because like things like TikTok allow you to access music, right, and trends that ideally suit you, right?
Right.
So
That's nice, man. That's nice. And I'm sure someone like Chloe is a very crucial part of that whole execution as well. Because you need someone who is, digital native, who really understands these platforms to go and think of content and make the content that works.
yeah, I guess you need someone young, trendy, and part of the scene to figure out what's trending. But it's also very dynamic. It's constantly changing.
Right.
So I don't think it's just Chloe, because the rest of us will sometimes tell her, look, I just saw this trend, what do you think? Then it's a team effort. We will decide that is this trend suitable for us or it's not worth our time.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, let's switch gears a bit, and I want you to talk to me about what's your style as a leader. As a business leader, you have a ton of stuff in here, in the other outlets and all that. Like, how do you describe yourself as a leader?
I don't know, man. I would say I'm easygoing.
Okay.
I try to give people runway to grow. So I think crucially, if you want to approach it right, if I want to give advice or if I want to describe myself, I try to give people a leeway to be themselves first before I intervene. So I think that takes a lot of biting your tongue.
Yeah.
Some people would say it's too easygoing, but I find if you give people a space to grow, they can eventually perform better than you telling them what to do.
Okay.
So
Does that mean that you are fairly tolerant to mistakes happening?
Yes, I think mistakes are inevitable. But I think by accepting the mistakes, right, you're gonna get so much more. You're gonna get your staff doing a lot more than necessary because they believe it's a place that they can grow.
Right.
So I think this common misconception that staff nowadays are lazy, millennials are lazy, you can't get good people. I think it's harder to get good people, but I think it's your job and your manager's job to make them good people.
Yeah.
They need to realize their potential.
I can't agree with you more. I mean, as an agency ourselves, right? 80% of the agency are millennials or younger.
Yep.
Right? And it's not true that there aren't exceptional people in this generation who are super hardworking and want to do their job, but giving them room to express themselves and to do it and to learn it the way they need to, giving them a space to learn is actually the most crucial part of it, I think. Has your management style changed to accommodate the size of the company?
Yes, and also my age, right? I mean, when I was younger, I would like basically get down and dirty with like the staff. I'll be like, look, today work till 5. Tomorrow I see you in the office 7 a.m. in the morning.
Nice.
And I'll be here before you guys. Can you all do it? Now I'm like dying
You go first, I come later.
So it became like, so I felt like when I was younger, I was a little bit headstrong and aggressive. I would charge forward. Now I feel like age is catching up with me, right? So I tend to be a bit more relaxed, and I give a longer runway for things to get done, right?
I see.
Last time I'll be like, we do it tomorrow morning. Why can't we? Let's get it done.
Yeah.
Let's all drink
Sky's the
tonight,
limit.
and then wake up in the morning. Let's go. I can do it. Can't you? Now I'll be like, oh my God, tomorrow gotta work. I'm not drinking today.
Okay. I feel you, man. I think actually, to be 100% honest, we are both exactly the same age. Yeah, coming on 39, right? Yeah. It's a different time.
It hits you like a brick though, right? Because like when you're 34, you're like, what is 30s? I feel like I'm 20. Then suddenly like 35, you're like, what the hell just happened to me?
1 hour less sleep counts for a lot nowadays,
Exactly,
right?
right? So, when I read about CEOs like sleeping like 5 hours or waking up at 5, I can't do this. I wake up 8 a.m.
I see.
No earlier. I mean, it doesn't matter what you make me do, because if I don't get that good 7 hours, I'm not efficient.
Yeah. I mean, as a CEO, your personal performance is of paramount importance, right? We are not there and present and making the right decisions. There's a lot of things can go wrong, right, in the long term. And it might not be one day, but over a long period of time, we are constantly not on point with our decisions. a lot of things can go wrong. I think.
Happened a couple of times, and it's quite common. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're too tired, you're like, yeah. And later you're like, who told you to do this? You're like, I asked you. You're like, and what did I say? Yeah.
Tell me, what would be your advice to someone who has been planning and hoping to start an F&B business, probably held back a little bit because of everything that's been happening in COVID, and still harbors the dream of going into it? What would be your advice?
Honestly, I think if I were them now, there's more opportunities in collaboration than to start up on your own.
Oh, yeah. Explain that. What does that mean?
So I think there are a lot of F&B outlets. They are struggling. That may not have social media know-how or certain aspects they lack lah. And it's an ideal time for young entrepreneurs to look into collaborative F&B joints as opposed to just going in and trying to open. Okay. Because then you have like a safety net. Let me give you an example. Like some joints, I've been to some joints, they only open at 5 p.m. If you're going to try and open your own outlet, and because you're paying rent 24 hours, there's actually nothing stopping you, besides alcohol laws, from operating 24 hours. It's the same rent. Interesting, right? Okay. But if you found an outlet that opened at 5 o'clock, then you structure the deal where you say, hey look, can I take the space from 9 o'clock to 5 p.m.? Then that gives you an ability to test out the market, right? Helping him pay the rent, cutting your cost of operations, and doing what you love.
And cutting your rent as well.
Exactly.
Because you're sharing a location.
Yeah. Interesting. So collaboration, I feel, in Singapore, is the ideal time to collaborate as opposed to just trying to open. Because you open, he opens, everyone open.
Yeah.
It's one customer lah.
Yeah.
Right? You can't cut him in half lah.
Good point, yeah.
But what else if you basically stack, then everyone benefits. So if I were to give anyone the advice, it is the best time to collaborate with another F&B owner, a brand, a mall, even other chefs, as opposed to setting out on your own. Yeah. Because that's going to be really hard.
Let me just ask one or two more questions along that line because it's really interesting. What kind of chef, food item, drink item, or idea would you collaborate with today? Because you've obviously thought very much about this topic of collaborations, right? Is there a gap that someone could fill in your businesses today?
I think if someone came to me with an artisanal product that is traditionally required to be mass produced, and they can produce it in Singapore in a smaller scale, that'd be very interesting.
Give me an example of what would that be?
Let's say Mexican beer.
Okay.
Right? If someone can brew it in Singapore, right? Or Mexican cola, someone can brew it in Singapore, and I don't have to import it, right? That would be something that appeals to me. Or potentially hot sauces, right? As a brand, if someone can bring us high quality products that's manufactured locally, here, small quantities, then those kind of collaborations would appeal to me lah. The beers were never brewed by us. We don't own a brewery. It was a collaboration because someone had a brewery. They had excess space in their tanks. We went in and we basically gave them the flavor profiles we want. We worked together to brew it. We're about to can this beer by working with them as well. Yeah. So I think collaboration is the future lah. Especially in Singapore, it's so small.
Yeah, exactly. I just want one more thought from you about a huge industry shift for the F&B world, right, in the last 2 years, and that is food delivery, right? It's been around for like 3 to 4 years, okay? But in its last 2 years, it's become really almost the reason why some restaurants have managed to pull through, right? What is your take on the whole food delivery scene and all that here in Singapore today?
To be honest, I'm not a big fan of the food delivery scene.
Oh, tell me why.
Right, because I believe it's an experiential thing for my brand.
Right, especially for your outlet that's set up in this way to really give someone an experience.
Yeah. And I would think like for most food items, the experience is more crucial, right?
I agree.
As opposed to eating it at home. So to be honest, I feel a beer doesn't taste as good unless it's freshly put into a nice glass.
It's really good.
So everything tastes better in the venue where it was designed to be consumed. I know the statistics are there, but in my opinion, I think it's for day-to-day kind of food or brands that have existed in that space. I'm trying to resist as much as I can. We are on all the food platforms, but we would prefer you to come in and dine. And our expansion would be far more on more experiential locations that are larger to get in more people.
Right.
I think the whole 2 years and the circuit breakers have taught people the importance of dining in and enjoying a beer in the sun, enjoying a margarita out there, giggling with a friend. I remember coming out the first circuit breaker, and then people just the first day come in and say, "Oh, you have no idea how much I miss just having a beer at this table."
Right.
Then the last 2 circuit breakers, right, phase 1,
Yeah.
right, when people all came back out vaccinated, you're like, "Bro, you have no idea how much I miss being outside." Even though it's dining with 2 people, just sitting with a friend in a restaurant is so amazing.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
So I think if anything, right, a lot of people now are willing to pay for an experience. So in my theory, I'm going to invest more on that as opposed to jump on the food delivery bandwagon.
Okay. I like that. It's a refreshing take on it.
Thanks, man.
If you have not come to Chimichangas before,
Yeah.
you have to because,
Okay.
and then go on from there.
Right. If you've not come to Chimichangas before, you have to because it's really the best place to be. The aliens would appreciate you coming. They tell you to come here or they're going to kidnap you.
All right, man. Aliens and tacos.
Yes.
Thank you so much for this.
That
for this
sounds
talk,
like
man.
the name of our new menu in place. Aliens and Taco.
Thanks for your time, Aaghir.
Thanks,
Really
man.
appreciate it, man.
Thanks, man.
It
Hope
was a
you
great
enjoyed the
chat.
beer.
Very much so.